start singing, you'll join in, right?
We'll see.
Bob, you want to check the shot? Hey everybody, Jonathan Scott, Vegas Nonstop. Big Bob's gonna check and see if the shot's lined up.
Oh, I'm gonna check.
Yeah, just check and see if everybody. I think we need a little.
You gotta get closer. You gotta get closer. But you're square.
And now we're good.
You're square.
At the
Hey
lap
everybody,
dance place.
yeah. Welcome to December. And this is the Happy Hippo Hour, Vegas Nonstop, coming from Peppermint Hippo, and what used to be the old OGs. You might know it as Olympic Gardens. And I want to talk to you a little bit about our guests. And
I like your
Big
voice.
Bob is gonna play us on here. Listen to these intros, okay? An incredible singer and gracious entertainer, Sky D. Miles hosted her own show in the Boom Boom Room at the Tropicana Hotel and is consistently playing to standing room only crowds for more than 4 years, and recently created Midnight Sky, a late night show inside of Planet Hollywood. I typed this up myself because I couldn't copy it from your website. Instead of Planet Hollywood Sin City Theater, opening to rave reviews in 2013. 2014, Sky was hired as lead vocalist in Holly Madison's 1923 Bourbon and Burlesque, shaking her tatas at Mandalay Bay.
About 2 minutes.
And then as the MC in the sexy hit show 53X or 53 times?
It's 53X.
53X at the Paris Hotel and Casino in 2016.
No, I've done a lot, haven't I?
Sky can be seen in the hit videos Lollipop.
And you don't want to do anything today.
Lollipop, Lollipop.
I wasn't that. That wasn't that kind of lollipop. Little Wayne's lollipop.
What kind of lollipop did Lil Wayne have?
He had a lot of licking going on.
A
lot of licks.
Like song lick.
Yeah, song lick.
Like,
come on. Man.
Yeah.
I don't know any.
We're not going down that road.
And Every Girl in the World by Drake.
Drake and Lil Wayne.
How'd that go?
Both experiences were really, really great. The first video paid more, Lollipop paid more, but that was Drake's first video.
It was very first video?
His very first video.
Wow.
Yeah. Video.
Come on in. Followed by long runs at Rose Rabbit Lie at the Cosmopolitan. Biggs is helping us out with many wine glasses.
we need more than that. Yeah, oh, those are nice. Oh, good glasses.
We're coming to you from
I just got him at the
Hippo
case.
at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk, on the way to the gateway to downtown Las Vegas. For those of you who live here, the doors are open. Come on in. You're welcome to come and visit with us. Anyway, you were at Rose Rabbit Lie at the Cosmopolitan Hotel, and recently at the Shag Room at the new Virgin Hotel, which I would say is the only Virgin in Las Vegas.
Is it?
And now you can catch our fabulous friend headlining her own show, Midnight Sky, at the newly reopened...
Midnight Sky, the Revival.
It's a Midnight Sky Revival?
No, Midnight.
The Revival.
Clearly you didn't read what you wrote.
No.
Midnight Sky, the Revival.
Yeah.
At the reopened Ghost Bar.
We reopened Ghost
At
Bar.
the Palms Hotel Casino.
Ghost bars.
Say hello to my awesome friend Sky Devo!
I'm glad I got out of bed
Right below Vetri.
because
Right?
Yeah,
oh,
right.
Vetri.
Vetri's right above.
And Big Bob
I'm
runs
going
from-
there for dinner. I'll
You
come see
love
you.
the
Please
Vetri.
do. I'm
Yeah, we're
there
gonna
on
talk about it.
Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Mark was in town yesterday.
Wait.
Okay.
So the show is Wednesdays and
Yes,
Thursdays
we were.
at the Ghost
We
Bar.
were Fridays and Saturdays for 4 months, from August to last week, and we started Wednesdays and Thursdays this week. So.
We'll talk about the show a little bit while Big Bob pours his...
Oh, I gotta pour wine. Oh, yeah.
Something so we can start the show with a toast. I like that.
Somebody's got to be someone's
Well,
bitch.
the show is just, I call it the Revival just because I felt like Vegas needed a recharge, a rebirth, a reinvention, a reenactment, a reboot. All
Vegas
the
rebooted.
things.
We need a reboot.
They need a
100%.
reboot, yes.
Unplug
I feel like
and
it
plug
lost
in.
its joy, and I don't think it was even just, definitely pandemic had some to do with that, but I think it was kind of teetering on the dying of excitement before the pandemic. And I think the pandemic just kind of did over, and I just found like people don't know how to have fun anymore. They don't know how to, you used to go outside and buy you a drink, or you can pay the usher to give you a good seat, or, just all of that. I mean, I've been here 15 years. I'm sure I didn't get to experience old Vegas, but I got a little bit of Vegas and entertainment and restaurant life, and it was just different. So I felt like I wanted to create the show that people can come and feel like they came into your house, whether it's having a good time, a block party, or you know, a barbecue or after church. I want everybody to feel all the feel goods. You know, I lost my mom last year, so I just felt like I even needed to recharge of why I'm even performing. So,
And you know who loves you? My mom.
your mom loves me.
Sandy from
loves
San
me.
Diego loves
Loves
Sky. Always has.
Yes.
You have a toast? A favorite toast?
No, wheat. No, just kidding.
Wheat toast. No, you don't have a favorite toast?
I like
I'm here-
rye.
I'm here
I'm a
all
rye
night.
guy.
Movie,
I
you
never had
have a
rye
favorite
toast.
toast?
My favorite toast is whatever's on your mind at the time.
I like to tell my
It's good
guys to go be great because you are great. So that's something I say. Go be great because you are great.
And if you're not, endeavor to persevere.
Oh, okay.
Well, again, we're coming to you from
Very
Peppermint Hippo, where you want to be great.
No, you can't get anything right.
Yeah,
Oh, look, don't be John.
yeah.
Talk more about your show.
Well, it's from 10 to 2. I mean, depends on, definitely the vibe of the room. It's very immersive. I start off with everything in the show are little pieces of me. So, like, I love the movie The Wiz. It's my favorite movie. So there's just like a little hint of The Wiz is in the show. I grew up in the church. I started singing, so little church is in the show. I'm from the Midwest, went to school in the South, so there's a lot of blues and rock and funk that's in the show. Very organic.
So when you say blues, like
I'm talking about down home blues.
like Bessie
I'm
Smith.
talking about Coco Taylor. I'm talking about
You know what? You don't know this, but I produced Coco Taylor's last video.
You did?
I really did. I've got a funny Coco Taylor. So
Oh,
Coco
wow.
was from Chicago, and I'm from
Yes.
Chicago. And my friend Mark Wilhelms went with me, and we honored Coco Taylor as the first lady of the blues, and we flew her to Los Angeles. And I produced this party. It was for all the transplanted Chicago people that are in LA. So my friend Willie and I go to Coco Taylor had a restaurant and a casino just outside of Chicago.
Okay.
So we went for lunch to meet with Coco, and my friend Willie will never forget this. We're having lunch with Coco Taylor. She takes her teeth out and she starts cleaning them on the tablecloth.
No.
Yeah, I swear to God.
That's juke joint. That's
Yeah,
juke
if
joint.
her daughter Cookie is watching, God love her, God bless her. But we had a party at the Peterson Auto Museum in Los Angeles. Our friend Joe Montana was there. Tommy Dreesen hosted it. Jim Belushi was there. All the Chicago folks came. My friend Mark DiCarlo and his blues band backed up Coco.
Okay.
And she graced us with a version of Wang Dang Doodle.
Wayne Dang Doodle.
Yeah.
With a Wayne Dang Doodle. Yeah, so we have a whole segment called the Boomer Room. It's one of my biggest sets. And it's all blues or kind of old funk. Betty Davis. We do it.
Betty Davis.
Yeah, well, the one married to Miles Davis.
Oh, her name is Betty Davis?
Miles Davis' wife was Cicely Tyson.
Yes, but he married.
He married Lottie.
Did I say Betty White? But no, Betty. I'm
Don
thinking of-
Cheadle did an amazing
No, he
job of
married.
playing
He married Betty, and Betty was before. I think I'm such a small name now. I'm tired.
I'm
I'm
tired.
very tired. I haven't had any sleep. But I got up for you. So this is my time when I'm waking up getting ready for the evening. But
You
he married.
musicians
He
sleep all
married
day.
Betty. Betty introduced Miles to Jimi Hendrix, and that's when he got that new sound from
The Electric Miles.
the Electric Miles.
So I went.
She was the witch's brew. She was that that not so good lady for him, but
Oh,
a good
no?
woman. No, they were good, but she was just a free spirit. She was before Shaka Khan. She was way ahead of her time, and she wasn't commercial, so it was hard. So she basically ended up kind of falling out of the music business, and they did a documentary. I don't get the name right because I love her, but I
So it was
just
Betty
I'm gonna
Davis.
get it. I'm gonna get it. You keep talking.
Big Bob's gonna be our fact checker.
Yeah, I'm
And
good at
camera
that.
person and horror and
Yeah, I'm gonna actually. I think I'm gonna pull back a little bit. Get everybody in the shot.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's a little tight. It's a little tight. It's a little
She,
tight. It's a little tight.
We'll
she
talk about
did
it.
funk. She was
That's
funk
good.
and rock before
That's good.
funk and rock. It's from a woman, from a black
And her
woman.
name was Betty Davis.
No, I'm gonna find
Yes.
So I went to the Hollywood Bowl one time. I did get to see Miles live in Chicago at Grant Park, but I went and they were doing what they called the Three Faces of Miles, and they dedicated a postage stamp to Miles Davis. And his daughter did live here in Las Vegas. I don't know if she still does or not, but they actually had, here it is.
Betty Mabry.
No.
It says Betty Mabry, darling.
Well, that might be before she was.
Frances Taylor, Betty Mabry, and Cicely Tyson. Those were his 3 wives.
Yeah, but she's Betty Davis because she was married to him.
Well, yeah, but she didn't go back. Oh, that she does say Betty Davis was an American
They
citizen.
gonna tell me
Betty
about.
Davis on
There
it.
you go.
Sky knows.
She was born
Yeah,
Betty.
but when I
Betty.
said-
She was born Betty Gray Maybe.
Right, thank you. It's just when I say it, I always have
There you
to,
go.
because I always think about the other Betty Davis.
Davis.
Betty Davis eyes.
She's got Betty Davis.
She was
I
sexy
hope
We
woman.
just started watching a show on Hulu. about
Nothing
Betty
creepier.
Davis.
Nothing creepier than Betty Davis eyes.
Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. It's
Oh.
called
All
The
about
Feud.
you. Oh,
And it's a great little
they did
miniseries
more
on
than one?
Hulu.
Oh, wow.
Like 8. They could have done it in 2 hours, but there's 8
Oh, the movie about
Betty Davis. But I saw the
Well,
Three
he was only
Faces.
married to her for a year.
But
It
he
was
got
Hulu.
some of, but he got some of his best work, his most legendary work came from his relationship with her. Of course, Cicely Tyson was, the long.
Yeah. Well, that was only 8 years.
So how long you been in Vegas? When did you come to Vegas?
I came in December 23rd, 05.
You remember
You
the
moved on New
day?
Year's. Well, you moved on New Year's Eve.
Same time.
Why, where did
Not
you-
same month, but I came in Vegas in
05?
05.
Yeah,
New
where
York.
from New York. Wow.
All right, let me
Yeah.
read about my other guest.
Oh, we ran over with
I do research. People don't know that I do research.
There's nothing.
I don't know
There's
if it's
nothing
research
current
or
on
if it's
them.
Rick
copy.
Moden is an American seafood chef and an early adopter of sustainable fishing practices.
Just seafood.
This is
I've seen him cook steak.
yeah.
Cook everything.
This is
Let me read this thing. Man.
yeah. Let me read my thing.
Yeah, he's only about 20 years old.
Yeah, he's known as the godfather of sustainability.
It's true.
Amen, Godfather.
Moonen graduated from the Culinary Institute of America and went on to work at New York City's La Côte Basque,
La Côte Basque.
Le Cirque.
Le Cirque is correct. And Alan Sayak, the chef that I worked under, just passed away. So I'd like to just take a pause because what an amazing man and an influence on my life. So, Jeffrey Zuccari and a lot of other big names worked under the same man too. And the creme brulee came during his reign as chef. That was
Where were you on the line with Richard Feminella? You guys were on the line together with Charlie Palmer, weren't you?
Richard Feminella. Rich.
With Charlie?
No, I know Charlie. I
Yeah.
know Rich Feminella. But I'm trying to think where we worked on the line together. Probably Chelsea Central. That's where we started to mix up people that was from the River Cafe, Chelsea Central, where I was the chef. That's when I kind of hopped over to work as a consultant with Charlie Palmer at Chelsea Central. That goes way back. Treat Williams and Penny Marshall, and a lot of big
Great
names
actor.
were involved in back then.
I stayed at the Chelsea Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was,
Anyway, it's just a Feminella, Rich.
Tall Richard.
I know tall.
Yeah, Tall Richard.
He worked at Park Avenue Cafe. Whatever.
He's still the chief financial officer for Charlie
Charlie.
Palmer.
Yeah, he's been in Charlie forever. And
Moon then became executive chef and partners at Oceana
That's where I met Rick.
before he opened RM in New York, which earned 3 stars from the New York Times.
Yep.
Also a partner in the Greek restaurant Molivas,
Molivos.
which also received 3 stars from the
Yeah.
New York Times.
Yeah.
Eh?
Whoa,
Yeah.
wow.
Yes.
Eh. Rick was one of the very few chefs in New York to have 3 stars from 2 separate open restaurants in New York. In 2005, Moon closed the New York restaurant RM in order to open Rick Moon's RM Seafood and R Bar Cafe at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. What's it called, the R Bar?
Upstairs, first one. was.
Originally, it was called our bar. Yeah, we called it our bar.
Oh.
It was actually it doesn't matter. When we first opened,
That's not
downstairs,
people.
downstairs was RM Seafood, right? So, and our bar was just a little bar in the back, that little, towards the back there, it became the sushi bar. Didn't open up as a sushi bar. We started off doing biscuits straight out of the oven and all kinds of gravy.
I love the sushi bar. The sushi bar.
So you
Great.
go there, all kinds of just lobster,
Yeah.
lobster biscuit and gravy at the R bar. Anyway, that didn't go anywhere. So we shifted gears and ended with sushi.
Yeah.
Where I stole Sean, what's his last name? He worked at the strip club, the men's club. And he would always come back and forth to borrow stuff from him because his chef that he worked on it was Stephen Gaddis, a good friend of mine. He's a master sommelier. No one's going to follow any of this.
Stephen Geddes. Yeah, Stephen Geddes also was responsible for the wine tower at Oriel.
One of them, yeah, he was part of that.
And then you had the wine ferries that if you're a fan of Las Vegas and you would go to Oriel at Mandalay Bay, you'd see that the girls would get on ropes and fly up and pick up your bottle of wine from the wine tower.
So Geddes is a master sommelier and he gets sick of it one day. He says, that's it. I did this. And done
When
with
he
it.
became a chef.
Yeah, so he said, I'm going to be a chef now. He said,
Oh.
and he worked under Andre Rashad. I mean,
Yeah, forever.
he had some training and stuff.
He worked for George LaForge too, right around the corner.
He sure did. And so he became the executive chef at the men's club when they opened it up. It used to be an old, it was a strip club, but tucked away in the armpit over in the back.
Some of the best food
It
I
called the
found.
Men's- it was
It was
called
the best food. And they also had another master sommelier doing the wine program.
Darius Allen.
Darius, and that's right.
Looks like a pedo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, Bob.
Big Bob's got his
Is
stuff.
there a John McMahon over here?
No, he's the cloud. That's why he's so tall. He's the cloud.
I have a question.
I just upload.
I got a steel
Can I
trap.
ask
Yeah.
I just upload stuff. Dude.
My friends and I, we were just having this discussion like last week. Why are there so many men who are chefs, but women are assigned the kitchen at home? Like you never think about your husband cooking.
Right.
My dad was the chef at
My house.
Well,
My house, they do.
They do.
My
But
mom
I'm
couldn't
just saying the
cook a lick.
popularity, the restaurant industry, especially when I started working at Rose Rebel, I realized how
Right.
male heavy.
Yeah.
It's definitely a masculine.
Oh, there's some great female chefs here in Vegas.
I think it's
Gina.
There's a ton of them, but
But
Marinelli.
they're not. But it's not the same popularity. I listen. I'm not
I think that's
feminist.
changed
I don't
over the
care.
last
I'm
few
asking.
years.
I'd say there's two reasons, and I've been around restaurants my whole life since I was a kid. My dad had a restaurant in '71. Rick started running. It's hard freaking work. It's physically. Not saying that women are the weaker sex, but it is it's viciously demanding, viciously physically demanding, and I wouldn't do it.
Right. But I'm
wouldn't
just
do
saying,
it,
like
and I'm
from
no
our
sissy.
eyes, when I think of
It's
women cooking.
It's a brutal
But
job.
when I hear of chefs, I feel like I hear more men being popular.
It's funny because when I first got into
This is not a trick question. I'm not trying to get
no,
my I just think about my mom cooked. I'm not saying my father.
the celebrity of chefs
The
happened
celebrity.
during my career, all right?
Okay.
Because I went to culinary school in the '70s.
Who are your classmates? Who are your classmates?
Charlie Palmer went to school around the same time as me. Frank Crispo did. What other big names? And not names that you would know, but names that went on. There's a lot of people that went on to become very well known. '74. This is early
Okay.
'70s. So once the '80s roll around, now we're starting to see the pictures of chefs on the cover of magazines.
So that happened.
And that was
in the 80s.
unusual. Like Bon Appetit magazine, Jean-Jacques Rochou, Le Copas, it was on the cover. It was always just food, like a cornucopia of food, something pretty. So now personalities are starting to get focused on. So around that time, in the '80s, Robin Leach, who was from Las Vegas, was 50%.
Another minute of silence. Our friend RL.
He 50% of Food Network. It was called the Television Food Network, TVFN. People thought they were out of their minds putting all that money onto just one subject. People are going to lose interest. They laughed it down. I remember wearing a helmet, construction helmet, and I got a T-shirt. I still have it from when they did the pre-opening of the show. It was Bobby Flay, who was he was married to one of the women that was on the show or was involved. There's a lot of politics in the beginning and whatever.
Come on in.
Chefs.
How are you?
That's where it started.
Is this a podcast?
Yeah.
It's a podcast.
Jonathan?
Yeah.
George Schifano. I
Hey,
am
George.
friends with Tim and Lori Laird. I
Well, we're
thought
live,
you guys
so
would
have a
be
seat
here.
and-
How are you?
Welcome.
Yeah, this is just a casual discussion.
Yeah, we're talking about chefs.
Nothing in particular.
My mom could watch Food Network all the food all day long. So it's very
Emeril
popular.
Lagasse, he was a shy guy, He had to, I know the guy that trained him originally for media work, how to work, because he was head down and was very quiet and was told like this, and he didn't have all that charismatic band craziness until he learned.
I met him early on before he was famous, and the one thing that I loved about Emeril, and I met him with a famous artist in New Orleans named George Rodriguez, and they knew each other because they were both from New Orleans. Is that he would after dinner he would have a meal, the chef's dinner, with all of his entire staff after every night.
Yeah.
I thought that was way cool.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely.
So do you feel? Sorry.
And Emerald's first question whenever he has the employee meal is, he asks the chef, "What can you fry?" Everything is fried. It can be fried.
Emerald's one of the nicest guys you ever meet in
absolutely.
your life.
Absolutely.
The essence of Emerald is when he was at his best. That's when he was kicking ass. That's when he had a band, an audience, energy. He was really working. He was loving it, rolling in it.
You say he was really shy when he became
It took him a couple of shows before he hit to that point, and that's normal, you know. And,
so do you think the celebrity, because I know in the music industry it's the same, we're like, oh, that person's just a great personality, but okay, talented.
Right.
Did you guys feel there was a time when the celebrity was overtaking the true
Talent?
art and talent of being a chef or a great
Still
cook?
is, isn't it?
Yeah, there's going to be people that's an easy point to discuss and argue. And yes, that absolutely is the answer, straight up. But you know what it also brought along is some deep interest. It widened the audience base, which everybody wants, no matter what you do, no matter what level of entertainment you're involved in. And for that, it's worth it. You know, the art of the culinary art, you know, the foo-foo, you know, detail-oriented stuff. I learned under that regime. You know, I understand it. There was a time where it bothered me so much that food was going to be lost forever. It'll never be lost. There's always going to be good food.
But I think your question is a good one. I think we should go back to it. Now Mancini joined us as well, and I think you can address this.
How are you? Good to see you, Sky. Great to see
And
you.
so you want to look at
on?
you want a little bit. We're going to tighten this up a little bit.
Everybody's on the frame, right?
So the question that
No, Al's not in it at all.
that Sky asked Al.
Turned me a little so mad.
Well, then Bob's not gonna be in.
Just tighten it up.
Pull it back.
Wait a second, I'll just sit.
Pull it back.
I can just sit right here.
Oh, look
Am
at
I
that.
in now?
Now you're going to be on the
Please
floor.
just sit
There we go.
there.
Be careful because if you move too far back, they're not going to hear us.
Okay,
Sky asked
all
the
right.
question about women chefs and why the industry has been so dominated with male chefs, and does she think that the same thing is in the kitchen at home, and are more men cooking at home as of late, you know, and instead of
It seems
women.
like more women, when I was brought up with, were people that cooked. But for some reason, it's more men who are popular in the celebrity and the
To
chef.
me, that's a matriarchal thing. I mean, women take care of the family.
I mean,
Men are off
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
whatever they do.
but-
And that's an
but-
old-fashioned, traditional.
Susan
Yeah, but
holds the
it's-
camera.
Feel too
But
much.
it's
He's not in it at
very,
all.
Yeah.
It's,
There you go.
There you
no,
go.
I think that's strange that they don't trans.
Well,
that
you know, I go back to the
they're
fact
good at
that,
home.
that cooking in a kitchen, a professional kitchen, is brutal. And
There you go.
I sure as hell wouldn't want to. I don't know anyone that could. I mean, I worked with Kat Cora at Bistro Don Giovanni in Napa Valley when she was the sous chef, and she became a big celebrity. And she was the hardest working, toughest nails little girl from Mississippi you ever met in your life.
but I think Rick would be able to speak to this, and maybe he did.
He did.
The French brigade system was based on the military,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And women aren't allowed.
And there were no women in the military where that came up from. So the whole classically trained kitchen and the fine dining structure came from a very male-oriented, militaristic, nasty, mean, brutal kind of no emotion, no
I mean,
Yeah,
including
that's-
hazing, structure, expectations. No one quits. You come into work no matter what. You drag your ass in, hungover, finger cut off, get your butt in here.
We should all
And
maybe
that,
do it. We should all
that
maybe
Very
do it.
also,
much, very much
that
so.
hazing, from what I've been told, from as recently as 15 years ago in the kitchens, the kind of hazing that went on in kitchens was also, for the women that were there, kind of would be considered Me Too moments in this day and age. The way that women were abused in the kitchen or treated horribly. And it was,
very
be
fascinating.
a
Now I
tough
think
guy.
of it.
You know, they felt like they had to be tough and tough it out and put up with that. Which
club.
thankfully that doesn't happen as much anymore. And you know, you may say what you will about you know, the HR divisions of casinos, but I think when a lot of those French guys and a lot of those European guys came here, they found out that they couldn't get away with the bullshit that they were
But,
allowed to
that,
get
that,
into.
that was back in the day when chefs like myself and when I had a restaurant, I was trying to build a culture. Wanted to build a culture. How do you build a culture? You really have to work on people caring and wanting to work, wanting to come to work, excited to come into work. So you had to create that environment for them that they were involved, that they knew that they were part of a working machine that got a lot of great recognition because we were the best. And it was very militant, but you had to always instill into them that excitement about their job. Today, people don't give a shit anymore.
They don't.
There's no more building of culture. Try to build a culture today. Good luck with all the Me Too and everything else. You can't. It's gone. It's stripped. And it's not the popularization of the celebrity of the chefs that did it. It's a whole nother influx of.
Well, but a big part of that is
Right.
there's a better deal around every corner. Everybody that works in a kitchen can
Silent quitters.
can get a better deal at another restaurant tomorrow.
All this, you know.
Yeah, but that comes from, I think, the culture.
Well, that's our current culture. I mean, look.
Listen,
People don't have integrity. It's
we took advantage of everybody that came and worked for us.
Sure.
I was taken advantage of by big time. And you continually were
by those who work for you or the.
but those that I
business?
worked for, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you didn't get paid for every hour you worked. You showed up early, you stayed late, you proved yourself, and that was what was expected of you. It wasn't part of a written contract, but you know.
Being taken advantage of was part of the game.
But Sky, as a touring musician, I'm assuming you spent some time on the road and touring in your
A
career.
little bit, not a lot, but yeah.
Okay, but then I would ask you know a lot of women musicians because I know that women have found road culture in rock and roll and in music to be just as intimidating.
I would just say it doesn't have to be on the road. I would say just being whatever level I'm at is still brutal. I mean, it doesn't have to be on the road. It's still a certain way you're treated. It's like I've had to hire sometimes a male music director or somebody because the language is not translating of what I'm saying, or men don't want to hear what I'm saying, or they they know more than me because they played with somebody, you know,
Betty Davis.
and Miles Davis. So there is a but I understand sound like, well, there's brutal things, but just being a manager of any sort can be a form of finds this disrespect. I don't want to use the word brutal, but I find it harder. I always tell people I think if I was married, or if other people in my industry knew that I was in a relationship, they would treat me different. Mm. It's still a thing that a male presence has to be around, but since they know that it's not, I get treated a certain way. You know, I'm the one that's sitting down writing the contracts, or I'm the one that's still got to lug the stuff in if the guys aren't there. I'm the one still booking. I'm still doing. There's still a male-female thing that goes on, and listen, I'm no feminist. Okay, I want my cat calls and my dog whistles and all that shit. So I'm not a feminist.
If you're just tuning it out, Sky D. Miles appears at the Palms Hotel and Casino with Midnight Sky Wednesdays and Thursdays. Joining us, Al Mancini, food journalist. I'm going to call you that.
Okay.
And
creator of the Neon Feast app. Download the app right now. Find a place
Neon
to eat.
Feast, and also Fear and Loathing,
Food and Loathing podcast.
I always go back to the Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes, well, that is where it came from.
Yeah.
Sadly, I was Sue and I were dining at a restaurant recently, and we told the waitress that my podcast was called Food and Loathing. And she said, "Okay, that's weird." And I said, "No, it's like Fear and Loathing." And she said, "Okay." And I said, "Like Hunter S. Thompson." She just
clueless.
No,
the
book,
father
the
of
gonzo journalism.
anything.
For you kids at home, Hunter S. Thompson was considered the father of gonzo journalism, like Chef Rick Moonen is the godfather of sustainability. And I want to hear about what sustainability means.
What does sustainability mean? It's a simple concept. In my case, as a chef, as brought up in fine dining environment, is caring about the products that you have the privilege of working with. You know, fresh fish, fresh venison, fresh meat, eggs, everything you have. But only great food, great ingredients come from healthy environments. So now you become inevitably, by accident, an environmentalist, because you're trying to make sure that if we screw up the environment where these fish are coming from, or where these other animals are growing, then it's going to affect the food that we eat in detrimental ways. Now, that is my easy way of talking about sustainability. Once you start creating a voice, telling people this is your concern, then everything else gets tagged along with it. And next thing you know, people are worried about the feathers that grow around a bird's ass, and how it irritates when the wind blows north on a cold, moist day. I mean, come on.
I think there's a song there.
or it comes down to it becomes cost effective. Like, well, he cares too much. I almost think now it's like you. I think now people who care, I find that mediocrity has become the norm with food, even at restaurants, in music, and
I hope not.
well, it's
Not in Las Vegas.
yeah, in Las
We
Vegas.
aspire to greater
I
things.
don't think so.
The only thing I know is that I know when I've been to a bad restaurant when the free range chickens are roaming the men's room. That's what I know.
You know, I want to go back just a little
New
bit.
meaning to the word pecker.
A little back to Sky's question before you
Gonna
walk
go down
in.
fast.
Like, can we give a shout out to some of the great female chefs that are here in town? Like we mentioned, Gina Marinelli.
Top 5.
Gina Marinelli, Nicole Brisson.
And
Yeah.
but say the name of the restaurant.
Okay, so Gina Marinelli is at La Strega and also at Harlow's Steakhouse, both out in the Summerlin area. She's brilliant.
Emily Brubaker, part of that team.
Emily Brubaker, part of the team.
Got a good props to the girl.
Nicole Brisson
Yeah.
is with Breza on the strip. Now
She was with Mario.
she ran all of Mario Batali's Las Vegas restaurants
That's
for
why
a
they were
while.
great. That was why
So
they
she
were
knows what she's doing. She probably knows more about aging beef than just about anybody other than 2 or 3 other butchers in the country. She's at Breza on the Strip as well as Bar Zazu right next door in Resorts World. She's fantastic. Jamie Tran is absolutely
She was on
brilliant.
Iron Chef.
She was on Top Chef.
Top Chef.
Yeah, she breezes. She was the nice person.
Which one were
that
you
year.
on? Which one were
I
you
was
on?
at Top Chef Masters.
Top Chef Masters.
What were you on Chops?
No, I never did Chops.
Oh, okay.
Never did
My
But
bad.
Jamie Tran is amazing, and she's also an off-strip chef.
Yeah.
She had worked on the strip at Ariole for Charlie Palmer. Then she also went over to Danielle Belou's restaurant in Venetian Palazzo, and then she started her own Vietnamese American comfort food restaurant over on Warm Springs Road and Durango Drive. It's called the Black Sheep. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I would go there.
Love the Black Sheep.
Other women chefs. Sue, who am I?
Vincent Rotola's wife. What's Vincent's last name?
Oh yes, Mariana.
Yes, fabulous.
Mariana. I'm forgetting her last name.
Alvarez.
Alvarez,
Thank you.
thank you. And she primarily makes tortillas,
Yeah.
really like
Blue.
from scratch.
Yeah,
Masa Sur.
She's got a pre-arrival for your holidays. Order online. You can order
Yeah,
online or
definitely look up Masa
Yeah,
Zul.
yeah.
She's back online where she's creating.
Isn't she's
Masa.
isn't she opening a restaurant?
I believe so, but she has not told me where.
Oh.
So I can't tell anybody that. I'm sorry, I'm
I
sitting
can't wait
on
to see
these.
her open a restaurant.
Other women. Bagels.
How about Lorena Garcia?
Sonia.
Sonia. Yes. Over at.
What's the name of the
bagel?
bagel?
Everything.
Super
Bodega.
bagel.
Bodega.
Bodega Bagel.
Yeah.
Bodega Bagel.
Bodega Bagel.
Shout out
I'm so
to Chef
sorry,
Sonia.
Sonia. I'm on the spot here. I
What about our
arrived late.
friend Christina, who's always at Vegas Test Kitchen? Christina Nguyen, who used to be
Christina
assistant one.
Nguyen is
Why did you get out
fantastic.
for?
Mama.
Yes.
How
Mama.
about Lorena
Yes.
Garcia?
Lorena Garcia is probably, other than Nicole Brisson, the only woman that I know that has her name on a restaurant
Yeah.
marquee on Las Vegas Boulevard, on the strip.
Well, no.
She runs Chica.
Chicada.
Oh,
Chica,
okay.
yeah.
No, also
Yeah.
Mary Sue and Susan.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Mary Sue
Water
and
girl,
Susan.
water girl.
But the thing with the names like Giada, who is fantastic, with Mary Sue and Susan, who run Border Grill, and with Lorena Garcia, who is brilliant, and she runs Chica
Right.
in the Venetian, is they are of the celebrity chef status, which means they're not in their restaurants every day.
Right.
And I'm not saying that as a put down to them. I'm saying they've reached that celebrity
Right.
level where
Right.
they don't have to be there every day.
And they have multiple outlets.
And they have
in
multiple
cities.
outlets,
So yeah,
right.
you
But
can't.
the other names that we've mentioned are people that are
Live here.
in there working,
Residents.
On the ground.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Right, right.
Give me some of that.
Well, I just wanted you to hear a roster of people that
Yeah, no,
do
I'm saying
represent
I-
an area that you're not.
We got some.
I'm not familiar with it.
And they're all beyond
And
legit.
they're all badass.
Badass.
But we
I
have
didn't
not
say that
come
it
far
didn't-
enough.
yeah, I
We
said I
have
didn't
not
say it
come
didn't
anywhere
exist.
near
No,
far.
no, but
And
bring it.
Hey, Martha Stewart has a restaurant.
Bring it.
You know?
there is a great Martha Stewart. There's a great organization actually.
No.
You've been? You've been?
No.
I have, yes.
What do you think?
Well, first I'm just going to say Women's Hospitality Initiative. Look it up. A great
Oh
organization
yes.
founded by Elizabeth Blau and Jolene Menina
Jolene,
here in Las
Kim
Vegas.
Owens involved.
Yes,
Yeah.
and what they're all about is teaching women and the men around them at the lower levels how to promote from within. And because they found that finding women and executive chefs is not really a glass ceiling problem. They call it a broken rung problem, which means there aren't enough stepping stones up from the first job to the second job to the third job, that there aren't enough women who are qualified for the highest position. So the way to solve that isn't to immediately try to push women into the executive chef position. It's to start making sure women get a boost up and they learn what they need to do. So the Women's Hospitality Initiative, if there are any women out there who want to get into the industry, I would recommend them to look that up. Now, what did I think about Martha Stewart?
Yes.
Martha Stewart's restaurant is absolutely perfect for anyone who loves Martha Stewart. You know, my brother wants to go there because he's a Martha Stewart fan, and I think he will enjoy it. I think he will get everything that he wanted from it. Now, it is pricey. It is a country club atmosphere. You feel as if you should be going out to play polo after you dine there. And none of that bothers me, even though, as you can see, the only times I've been on a polo field is when I go to Coachella for the music festival. But
It's all about the chuckers, my friend.
it's not about me.
And Bim's Cup.
Yes.
Well, hold on. I want to go back to Rick, though. In 1974, you went to the Culinary Institute. How many women were in your class?
Very few.
5%? 2%?
5% would be high.
So that answers a little bit of your
Well,
question.
it does.
Yeah.
Well, it does answer
But
what I'm
that's
saying. But my
early
question was
70s.
Yeah.
why.
It
That
was
was.
gross.
I'm so glad we got on this, though. I think this is great
Because I worked at Roosevelt, but like when I started working in supper clubs, I realized how, man, the energy is so masculine energy. I didn't realize, because I'm thinking about how I'm raised, where women mainly cooked in the home and did all the meals.
Sure.
They did the fish fries and the barbecues and men, but
Where do you go for Southern food? Or for
I have not found a place in Vegas yet that.
M&M soul
You haven't
food is,
had my
M&M
ribs.
soul food is good.
M&M's
Okay.
Have you been to Chef Carol's?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, it's down on the historic west side.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I actually did a story for the Las Vegas Review Journal about 2 or 3 years ago. I'm almost embarrassed to say for Black History Month, right?
Right.
Because you do. That's the only time sometimes you get
Right.
asked to write these stories. But I really examined the history of African American food in Las Vegas, and I went down and asked people to recommend some quality soul food places. There are some great places on the historic west side. Most of them,
Pick up though, they're not dining.
M&M
most of
soul
them are
food?
pick up.
Pick up,
Is
Yeah.
M&M soul food good?
M&M soul
like
food
M&M
used
soul
to be
food.
It
used to be fantastic.
Yes, it did used
I
to be.
would say that I haven't been in a while.
Are they still
I've heard
open?
some rumors of it maybe dropping off a bit, but I'm pretty sure it's still open. Not this one over here
Not
is
on
no
Charleston,
longer
yeah.
open.
This
but I
one
think-
closed, yeah.
You know, it's like when you grow up on whatever your nationality is. It's hard to satisfy what you like. No one fries chicken better than my mom.
Mhm.
So it's very hard to go to a place like that's amazing soul food because you have your own very
Memory.
familiar. So I think it's like with Italian food or any very specific heritage of food to find a restaurant that really gets that because people are it's such a comfort food.
Only 2 listings on
what?
Neon
M&M,
Feast.
what's the other one?
No, neither.
Well,
hot dogs and
You're
the
not
Lay's
really
at the bar.
searching it the right way. But
No,
that's
I-
okay.
Go to Neon Feast if you want to find
I'm
it.
on the Neon
But
Feast.
I used to take,
I went.
I used to take people to M&M's when I used to come and visit. But I don't like now. I just don't know. Like, it has to be more than M&M's. I just don't know where all the soul food restaurants are. Most of the ones they are pickup. They're not dining.
Yeah, there's oh man,
Well,
what's
House
the
of
one?
Blues
What's
tries.
No.
House of Blues tries, but you know, it's
Sorry, y'all.
like
It's,
corporate.
it's way beyond barbecue. It's way beyond just barbecue.
What's the one that
It
has
is
the
Caucasian, it's like
Bruce
that.
Leroy down on the west side?
Bruce Leroy.
Yeah.
Is it
damn.
Mama's?
Don't know.
No, it's got a really crazy name. It's like it's Chinese and soul food mixed together.
Oh, okay. I
yeah.
have heard about
Do you want
that.
to find it on the Neon Feast app?
I don't think we have a
Again,
category for that.
I
Jonathan
don't
Scott
understand why there's not soul foods on the restaurants.
coming to you from Peppermint Hippo at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk, which is really the gateway to downtown Las Vegas. It's the old Olympic Gardens. If you want to come by, we're going to be here every Friday, 5 o'clock. You're welcome to join the podcast or just come and hang out. And we appreciate you guys, your input on things that you'd like to talk about. And people love talking about food. And one of the things, I did a couple of shows on the CW network about culinary arts, and we talked about the surgence of chefs off the strip and the restaurants that are happening off the strip. That people might not, if they're tourists, they're going to go to the strip restaurants. But what recommendations would you have for restaurants? We talk about Sparrow and Wolf certainly a lot, and Black Sheep is another one that we mentioned. But there's some young chefs that are coming up that are.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I mean, I should point out that if you go on Neon Feast, there's about 500 restaurants on there. Only 100 of them are on the strip. The other 400 are off-strip restaurants. So they're scattered throughout the valley because we have great food everywhere in Las Vegas.
I agree.
And we have great chefs everywhere in Las Vegas. So I guess the question would be, what are you looking for? And, you tell me what kind of food you like, and I'll tell you where to go.
I want Chef Rick Moonen's ribs.
Yeah, that's why Vegas is my house.
I've had Rick's ribs. They're all.
You know what?
And Rick also
Rick
makes amazing pizza too.
You know what he made
really
that I couldn't find anywhere? Skirt steak. Skirt steak. Not a lot of restaurants have skirt steak.
Yeah.
No, it's
But,
good. You know how to get it out of the hand.
Rick recommended several restaurants from my app, actually.
Sure.
Right? So Saffron Indian.
Yeah,
One that you really liked. I remember that.
Flavors of
That one
India.
came from you. I know you recommended Marche Bacchus. It's kind of a Vegas institution.
It is. That's an experience.
I would say, since you're a seafood chef, let me talk about great seafood restaurants. In my neighborhood, we have Other Mama by Dan
I haven't
Cromer,
been there yet.
which
Oh,
is
you're
amazing.
kidding.
That's on
seriously,
Durango
Other
at
Mama
Desert
rocks.
Breeze Park.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Other Mama. I'll take you out anytime. I always have +1. I saw you at Gospel Brunch.
Thank you.
Tim, climb up.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
Why did I just see you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Other Mama's on Durango.
I'll definitely go hang out with you.
So a friend of mine just came in from Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky, everybody.
Yeah.
And my friend Tim Laird, his title is CEO,
Hi.
which
Hi.
stands
How
for
are you?
Chief
Good.
Entertaining Officer, author of 3 different books
$3
on entertaining.
and food and drink.
And you can see him on ABC TV nationally whenever there's a holiday or Christmas and stuff going on. Big Bob's offering you a glass. He's pouring some wonderful Bordeaux.
I will.
Absolutely.
Always Bordeaux. Okay,
Oh, absolutely.
Only Bordeaux.
Always pimping. So
Look at that.
We have to. We always go in succession in a sensible order. The first one is a Côte Castillon. It's 90% Merlot, 10% Cabernet Franc. It's organic and biodynamic, and is Chateau Juinan.
Chateau Juina.
From the Côte Castillon. Castillon is famous because it's where the French kicked out the British at the Battle of Castillon in 1453. And
For you kids at home that are taking notes,
yeah,
1493,
And they make wine.
I would have studied history if they poured wine with it.
well, okay. So
I remember it.
I was a history major in college, and the reason I'm good at the wine business because I just remember names and dates, and it's a crazy stupid
So
thing.
Tim, to bring you up to speed,
So
we're gonna get-
Juinan, salut.
Salut.
Santé, à votre santé.
Cheers, everybody. Happy holidays. Season's greetings.
Yes, cheers.
Our friend Sky D. Miles appears at Palms Hotel Resort Casino in a show called Midnight Sky, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock.
And then I got a revival.
10 to 2.
I keep
Wednesday
forgetting
and
the
Thursday.
revival part.
Because you need the revival.
We all need that.
Tim, welcome back to fabulous Las Vegas.
Great to be here in fabulous Las Vegas. Absolutely.
Now,
Jen
one of the
Scott.
topics that we were talking about with Chef Rick Moonen, Big Bob Bordeaux, is
Big
talking about female chefs. Certainly here in Las Vegas, there's been a resurgence, and El Mancini publishes Food and Loathing. I always want to do that. Food and Loathing in Las Vegas, and he's got an app called
Neon Feast.
Neon Feast.
Yes.
We're talking about female chefs, and there's a plethora. If Melissa's watching, it's her favorite word of female chefs that have been coming up here in the Las Vegas area. What do you find nationwide? Do you find that?
Oh, it definitely. I'll tell you, in Louisville, I mean, we were known for a lot of great independent restaurants, and there's so many great female chefs. And in fact,
What's the name of your show? Secrets?
Secrets of Bluegrass Chefs is a show we do. You can look that up on. And we get to work with chefs, and I'll tell you what, it's amazing, that scene. And you're right, the females that are coming along in the chef world is phenomenal. And they're just, I mean, cutting through the clutter. Gosh, we had one that started a long time ago. What was the chef, our friend that was doing farm to table?
Kathy Carey.
Kathy Carey, before it was cool. 30 years ago, she started this farm to table. Before anybody was doing this, she was the groundbreaker, and of course, many, many others.
And last time you had Chef David with us.
Dave Danielson, who was the 11 years at the executive chef at Churchill Downs, a wonderful chef. Now he, that's right. After doing that for 11 years, he said, you know what, I'm tired of all these people, so now he's running a great big kind of resort distillery called Dant Crossing outside of Louisville. So a lot of bourbon and wine.
Really, what a surprise. Shocker.
Coming to you from the Peppermint Hippo here in almost the gateway to Las Vegas with Chef Rick Moonen, Big Bob, Sky D. Miles, and now Tim Laird, America's CEO.
Wow.
So talk about a little bit, since we've got you here, a holiday dinner. What would be the holiday dinner that you're going to talk about on ABC if you're going to go do that?
Oh, I'll tell you what. Well, it starts out, I'll tell you what, my mom would always make this oyster stew on Christmas Eve. So that was always been part of it. I love oyster stew. And just getting around. And then prime rib. Is that the ultimate holiday dish? A little prime rib that's always delicious. And of course, my favorites are all the sides. Of course, the wine that goes with it. By the way, beautiful wine. This is so, oh.
Julian is a favorite of mine. And all three wines we brought today are 2018s, which is a sensational vintage. Very lush, very forward wines that might age for a little bit, but are beautifully drinking right now. And restaurants always want stuff that's ready to go. So the next wine coming up is from Poissignan Saint-Emilion, Chateau Fongabon, also organic and biodynamic. Because I knew Rick was here.
Was there a war? Any war?
No, but Poissignan is just over the hill. It's a sub-appellation of Saint-Emilion, and Fongabon is a wonderful small producer. This one is 80 Merlot with 10 Franc and 10 Cabernet Sauvignon. But you're going to find just beautiful lushness, and the wines are going to get more concentrated as we go from 1 to 3. So you can't go wrong, ladies and gentlemen, with 2018. No one made a bad or inferior wine in 2018. They're very upfront. They're very luscious. You can drink them with your holiday prime rib, or even with ham.
This is great with turkey. This would be great with turkey.
You do Yorkshire pudding?
Oh,
that was my thing.
Yorkshire pudding.
I love Yorkshire pudding.
What's Yorkshire pudding?
Yorkshire pudding, for Christ's sake.
With a big hole in the
It's a
center.
big holy muffin with egg in it, right?
Bob, it became a muffin, but it started out. What would happen is this.
I became a muffin.
We're all muffins.
You know the muffin man?
Dude, I was just going to say that.
Drury Lane. So, they used to roast a big piece of meat, such as a prime rib. The prime rib comes out, it has to rest, so that all the juices can be redistribute themselves to the piece of hunk meat. While that's happening, they got all of this. They got all this fat and then the drippings and all those delicious things down the bottom. The French call it the fond, and everybody else has a name for it. It's where all the flavor is. They put it back in the hot oven and just let the fat just start to smoke. Meanwhile, you make like basically a crepe batter. It's loose, like crepes. It's just got like 4 ingredients. It's flour, it's eggs, it's milk, and it's a pinch of salt. That's all it is. And they just pour it in, and it would mix with the fat. It would emulsify with the fat and just turn into this big mushroom, a gigantic mushroom of Yorkshire pudding.
And it's just so light and airy. I mean,
It's
that's the
perfect.
thing about
I like about on the outside.
You take over?
You use it to soak up the meat, but it's made with the natural fats of the roast. That's what real Yorkshire pudding is. Or, as we call them, popovers.
Yeah.
That's the muffin.
My mother would remind people that Bob lived on bread until he was 9 years old, and I was the tallest kid in school. And he gets so much bread and RC Cola. Bread and RC Cola. That's all I eat. Bread and RC Cola. All right, you're after
So we've got the Yorkshire
so now we're on
pudding.
Fongabon.
We've got some prime
We're
rib.
moving on up, and then a little more concentrated.
Throw that one back around.
Slam it. Slam it.
No blending. No.
You must finish.
Now, what about horseradish with your prime rib, Tim Laird?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I
about
do.
that.
Not the creamy horseradish, just a little bit of horseradish.
your own.
And just a little bit. I love it. Yeah.
The root that looks like a disgusting thing. You peel it
Right.
down, and have no worries. Peel it down so it's nice and white. Doesn't smell like anything.
Right.
I bought a bad. You think you bought a bad horseradish? I'm pretty sure you did. Chop it into pieces. Put it in a food processor. Add white vinegar, salt, and a little water, or an ice cube even. Just process it, and be careful. Next time you're gonna go smell that horseradish you thought was dying, it's gonna knock your ass on the ground, and your lungs will be constricted.
What's the preferred vinegar?
White vineger. White.
Joyce Tristan, and we used to
You
go
can
on
use
and
whatever you
on.
want.
Paul Simon.
If you want to add sweetness to it,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not going to be the same. This is pure, like Coleman's mustard, strong horseradish. So easy to make, and you just make sure there's enough
Yeah, that
moisture in it.
recipe
You put it
is
in a little mason jar in your refrigerator. Lasts forever.
And what I said earlier, no cream. Don't do the cream and all
No,
that stuff.
no,
You want the
no.
fresh. As I said right at the beginning before you told me the recipe, I said I don't want the creamy nut. I just want that true horseradish. Oh, boom.
Peel it back.
Can you
here.
get that recipe again?
What are your sides? What are your sides?
Oh my gosh, all kinds of sides. I mean, you got to go back to some more stuffing, and you have another dressing.
Brussels sprouts in or
Brussels
out?
sprouts.
What do you think?
Well, roasted, they're in. They're in. I'm telling you, they're coming
think
in,
we're gonna see
especially
some-
roasted or peeled. I'll tell you what's the other one too is thinly sliced and a little salad on the side. Those are good with a little vinegar. Go back to the vinegar, balsamic vinegar.
Green bean casserole.
Oh,
Gotta have the green bean casserole.
that,
Gotta have the green bean casserole.
oh, that's a family fight at my house during Thanksgiving.
Chef Barry Day Cake put that on the menu at 9 Steakhouse. It was their most popular side.
Oh, I think I had too much of it as a kid. I see it, the consistency. It just, I don't know what it is when I'm
You
looking
don't
at
crave
it.
that Campbell's cream.
It looks like it's
mushroom
already
sauce?
been
The
eaten.
Campbell cream of mushroom and the canned onions. I mean, come on. Oh, it's the best. It's the
I
best.
think it's time to retire.
Well,
Yeah.
my
And
wife,
you know what?
my
I'm
wife
sorry
loves
to
it. I
say
say
this.
no. Well, how about the Fun Yums? You gotta have the.
Fun Yums. Onions on top.
So I'll eat those. I'll
Okay.
eat the Fun Yums.
Right.
instead of the green bean
This
casserole.
occurred to me today. I'm creating a recipe for a mole that's based on cherries. I want it to be red. And I'm thinking, how am I going to make this mole red? Delicious mole. It's really got so much depth of flavor. We got a lot of guajillo chilies in there, hoping that redness of that is good, but it doesn't hold true. Chocolate kills it. So I'm going through my refrigerator, and what comes out? With the thing that always comes out, it's always left over. It's nice to have a little bit on your plate, but nobody eats cranberries.
I love
I love cranberries.
I know, we all love cranberries. But it's always cranberries left over in the refrigerator. And if you tell me otherwise, you're full of shit. Tell me right now.
Like
I pureed it.
or dried cranberries.
But no, real
Cranberries
cranberries.
are-
Cranberries are sugar. It's a
It
little
is
water
hard to
to
eat a whole
boil
bag
it.
of
That's what you
cranberries.
do.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So I pureed it. It's so red. You can't kill that red.
wow.
So that's what I'm going to be doing. Like, when I go home, I'm leaving right now. I'm going to make duck when I get home.
Oh,
Duck breast.
God, I love
with this
duck.
cherry mullet.
Duck breast is
And
great.
with that
That sounds
cranberry.
Well, you know what you can do with
Oh.
you know what you can do with the leftover cranberry sauce. I've done this. Put it in a shaker with ice, add a little vodka, shake it up, and you have a great cocktail. I'm not
my
kidding.
God.
I'm not
Oh,
kidding.
you're right. You're absolutely
Why did I
right.
know that Tim
Or
Larry
actually, it
could-
works with gin too. You can put gin, vodka, shake it up with that
Right, with the
cranberry.
cranberry sauce
Yeah,
in it.
it's
I
like
thought
you
we
do
were
it
doing
rum.
shaker.
oh,
White,
rum.
cheap rum. Like
Rum
Bacardi.
would be great. Rum.
Vodka never meant anything it didn't like.
Right.
So-
Cranberry,
Yeah,
ice.
but I agree with you, 100%.
It's absolutely
Put like
fabulous.
some sliced kumquats in there, and you're like, what?
Cranberry ice.
And
A little
just
sugar,
rum,
a little
vodka,
simple
or
syrup.
gin.
Simple syrup. I
Well,
always
it
use
depends
simple
on how
syrup.
sweet the cranberry
Yeah.
sauce is.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
because
I'll try that.
but it's the cranberry sauce you've already made, so the sweetness is there. You can adjust it, but it's like, well, the big drink, of course, in Kentucky is the mint julep.
Natural.
So the secret to that is you can take a little mint jelly and bourbon, shake that up, and it's the easiest mint julep, no muddling.
If I see mint jelly in anyone's house, I turn right the fuck around.
Oh,
Anybody's got mint jelly in their house, I'm leaving.
It's only to make mint juleps,
Yeah.
not for lamb or anything else.
No, one of the few herbs that
What a
grows
horrible
well.
thing to do to a good bourbon.
Yeah, one of the few.
No, there's
One of the few herbs
Kentucky
that grows well
Derby, I
is
can
mint.
stop it.
Mint
Yeah.
grows like
Do
crazy
you
in
think
Vegas.
the get healthier or gluten-free movement ruins some part of the enjoyment of food?
No,
You guys find that you didn't?
I don't think so. My wife is she's got celiac, and so I'm not. This isn't anything with my wife. This is about how I've changed my cuisine, how
Okay.
I altered what I cook to it just makes it more interesting. I mean, all right, so I made a turkey gravy for Thanksgiving just a couple of days ago. What I thinking of it? Potato buds. Potato buds. It's a dried, freeze-dried potato.
Yeah.
We used to use them at La Côte Basque in the early 80s to make vegetable purees. You don't make carrot puree that's going to stand up to a piping bag if you don't put a little bit of potato buds in it. Boom.
I grew up on those.
So I'm thinking my gravy with it. It's delicious and healthy. And now a new way of thinking. So do I need processed flours?
No.
And it goes further back. If you want to get
Cornstarch,
into history,
yeah.
before the roller mill, we ate real flour. And it was actually healthy for you. And nobody had celiac. Right? It's the roller mill pulling out all the wheat germ and all the everything else, leaving just the powdered white stuff that would be shelf stable. All that we end up with. Anyway, it's a long, sad story about how food
I just wanted to
and nutrition and health have come.
Talk some more about that, because I have the same thing with a beautiful girlfriend, that she found out that she can't eat flour and she has to have gluten free.
She probably could have, depending on how bad it is. And I'm not a doctor.
It's bad.
I'm a chef doctor.
It's bad. It's
Oh,
bad.
it's all chef.
Chef
No more bread, no more
Dr.
pasta.
Chef.
I bet
It's
if
bad.
it is whole grain. You know, used to be people would grow their own wheat on their property, and they didn't. It's a perennial. It's grass. It would grow back again the next year and the next year. The roots would get deeper. It would get more nutrition by that. It wasn't like what we do now. Anyway, and there was a mill in every town, along every river. There was a mill. Like you could shoot a gun to the next mill, and people would mill their own flour, their own wheat. They would make bread out of it because it has like 7-day shelf life. Real, healthy, fresh wheat has like a very short shelf life. It goes rancid quickly because of all the nutrition and oil. People would make bread just to extend the enjoyment of it.
I would just point out, if you are worried about gluten-free and that kind of stuff, we were talking about great female chefs here in Las Vegas. Nicole Brisson, who is one of the best Italian chefs in Las Vegas, also has Hashimoto's disease or syndrome, or whatever, which is similar to celiac. So she can't tolerate gluten.
Yeah.
Yet for years she ran all of Mario Batali's restaurants in Las Vegas, dealing with pastas and things like that. And she is an expert in cooking without gluten and doing things like that. So I would definitely recommend you go to her restaurants.
Say the-
Yeah, I don't have any.
And that would be Brezza,
BREZZA,
Resorts World. And also Vincent Rotolo, who runs Good Pie.
Love it.
Married to Mariana, as we were speaking.
Yes.
He did a lot of research into making gluten-free pizzas. Took it
Really?
Really, really seriously. Does some of the best gluten-free
Still on
pizzas
Fremont?
in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
No, they're on Main
Main Street, right next to Main Street.
Main Street, right next to Main Street Provisions, right.
And
center.
it doesn't taste like shoe leather.
Right.
Didn't you have something else?
Yeah, no, I was thinking about
Which
this.
is a
You
nice
talk about the
benefit.
mills, the old classic mills.
Yeah.
You know what I've seen popping up a lot of places are these mills, these little mills that are grinding their own. Like we've got one in Louisville called Lou Mill Grits, and they grind everything right there, and he has a pizza parlor next to it. But they're actually, it's a mill in his house. He actually mills all these grains that come in, and it's wonderful.
You get the best water
They're
in
going
the
back.
country there. It's just not fair.
It really is good.
Limestone.
Limestone. That's why it makes good.
The
bread.
largest cave, the largest amount of caves of anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that limestone water is the key to, well, a couple of things. Not only does it make great bourbon, but it also strengthens the bones. So that's why a lot of the thoroughbreds that are coming from Kentucky
bluegrass.
have these strong bones because
boy.
they're drinking the limestone
And
water.
let's not refer to Cassius Clay, the greatest Louis
Right.
of all time.
He drank a lot of limestone water. I think that helped out a lot.
Well, he didn't drink any of this. Did he?
They didn't drink any of the Bordeaux, I don't think.
No.
Chef, we talked a little bit, but we haven't talked about, I haven't seen you for 3-4 years since pre-pandemic time. What are you up to?
Me?
Yeah, over at another place? What are you doing?
No.
Co-hosting the Food and Loathing podcast about
I
twice a month.
co-host a lot of times.
Oh, you do?
The Food and Loathing. Just it keeps me involved with a lot going on. I still go out and I support a lot of my friends in the hospitality industry.
Marinating
We
some ribs.
my wife and I like to go out and eat. We like to entertain. It's still alive and well. I'm the master development chef for Perry's Restaurants. It's a steakhouse concept started 40 years ago. They're based out of Houston. but I've created 2 new concepts with them, along with the owner. So I do all of my recipe development in my house. So I have all this food sent to me, shipped into me, like full whole fillets and whatever I need. And I get so much food, we have to throw parties just to have it consumed.
Yeah, well,
and I get
we're
feedback,
in.
And I get feedback too. It's
Plus,
a lot of fun.
taste testers.
So my life couldn't possibly be better. I mean, it's a great culture. We were talking about earlier about culture's dead. They have a great culture in their company. It's been around for long enough that it's embedded in the system. And the owner's a real savant, and I get a great time working with him. And we're opening up a new modern Mexican concept where I have a molinito, a real two gigantic stones rubbing together, milk coming to my house anytime within the next week or so from Mexico. So we're making our own masa, from Nixtamal.
And you still working with the Sustainable Seafood Company?
I work with a new company that's coming out with a product that's Forever Oceans, and they have hamachi right now. We call it kanpachi. It's delicious fish.
What was the name you worked on before?
Oh, that was True North.
Oh, True North, yeah.
That relationship. Martha Stewart screwed me out of it.
Oh, Martha.
Yeah, thank you,
So
Martha.
it wasn't a
Come to
good
your
thing.
restaurant.
So it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah, but Rick lands on his feet.
I don't care. That's how we evolve.
Come on, Mark.
So
What bottle are we on?
Pimped what's the new
You can't
company?
have everything.
It's
Mark.
called Forever Oceans.
And where are they based?
They're based right now. Well, they're based out of near DC. The company itself. They're raising their fish right now in Panama, and they started in Hawaii. Fish is delicious. And the thing about this company that's different is they're acquiring the rights to farm in certain parts of the world, and they're making sure that environment is better off while they are existing, while they're tenants of that land. In other words, they're regenerating the environment in which they're setting up.
Leaving it better than they found
First
it.
time that this has ever happened in the history of them.
Are you still doing anything with vegan fish? Vegan, the
Oh,
faux
that's
seafood?
no.
No,
It's
okay.
made out of sour melon or
Kind of a contradiction there, isn't it?
Well, I
No,
thought
it's something that look like tuna.
I also thought 3D printed stuff or not.
That's working too.
Oh, no,
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Wait, don't worry, we'll talk about
Are
that.
we on our third bottle, Bob?
You are, sir. Yes, you are.
Johnny jumping
Go
the gun.
bigger.
Johnny jumping the gun on the third.
Coming to you live
tell
from
us
the
about
Peppermint
Peppermint.
Hippo.
Oh, do we want to do it in Harry Carey? Well, you've moved on to the third line of the day.
let me
This is-
hear you.
This is the Kruger's Wow. It's fabulous. I gotta tell you about this one. Well, this is Liliana Louis.
All right, let me hear you. When you're losing,
Everybody can do a Harry
I'm a
Carey.
Bud fan and I'm a Cub fan,
Yeah.
and I hope that
Yeah.
you are too.
But-
How are you?
But as you know, prior to joining the
It was at the
Northsiders,
St. Louis
he
Cardinals.
was with the beloved.
Until Augie Bush rode him over with the car.
Yeah, well, all right.
Come
let's
on.
not- No details. No details. Anyway,
Allegedly.
Liliane Ledouis. This is now we're on the right bank. We're on Cabernet Dominant wine. Saint Estèphe, Cru Bourgeois, Liliane Ledouis. This is, I believe,
The other
owned
side of the
by,
river.
Yes, the left bank. This is, I believe,
Leaf
owned
Coast.
by. This, I believe, is owned by the Hardy family, Hardy Cognac. I believe they own this one. Yeah.
Hardy
But
Perfection.
but they allow
Andy
us.
Hardy.
But they allow us to sell this one. Yes.
So how do, as chefs,
Panel.
panel,
Sky
Ask
Miles
classes.
has a question.
about entertainment and restaurant experience?
Actually, right now is a fantastic time in Las Vegas for the merging of entertainment and restaurant experiences. You, by the way, are the pioneer in that field of this new resurgence. What you did at Rose Rabbit Live.
Sky
set the
Miles.
stage.
And what's the new name for Rose Rabbit Light?
Well, it's not
It's
it's
Super Freako, but it's
Super Freako,
different.
yeah.
But Rose Rabbit Live was very much ahead of its
Yeah.
time. When you went away, then suddenly everybody realized it was a good idea. So we got Mayfair Supper Club right before the pandemic struck.
Right.
It's super expensive investment in the primest real estate at
Right.
Bellagio, but that's a dinner theater experience.
Yeah.
It survived the pandemic, came back strong. Then at the same time, we got Delilah over at Wynn,
Yeah.
and that's also another dinner theater experience. At Nomad Library, we've got Brian
Yeah, Brian.
doing his thing
Brian
late
Newman.
night. Brian Newman doing his late night thing afterwards. At Olives by Todd English, they have live music in the lounge most nights that you can hear from the dining room. And then there are, of course, the older places, like you've got the Bootlegger Bistro that's been doing that for a million years. You have the Nevada Room. You have the Italian American Club.
Nevada Room's closed.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Nevada Room's been closed. Yeah, Capo's
Well, my
has.
question,
But I just feel people are very
Yeah.
interested in it now because it used to be that you would come to Las Vegas and you had so many things to do. You would want to do your show. You would want to do your dinner. You would want to do your gambling. You do all this, and you were running from one thing to another. What they've realized is if they can capture you in the one room all night long, transform the experience as the evening goes on. And by the way, you have a great new restaurant that just opened one floor above you at the Palms, Vetri Cucina. So I say you do a little bit
I brought it
of
up,
mixing.
Al.
Yeah, we've already been there. Vetri, Mark
I
Vetri.
found it worked because I've been in a few. I mean, I've done all the spots. I'm doing the lighters on Sunday actually. But I found it because Rose Rebel Live was so new. It did seem sometimes like there was this competition between entertainment and cuisine. Like,
Who's going to be the star of the show? Why are people coming?
Why are people coming? That still is, I think, kind of happens. I still feel like entertainment is still secondary.
Well, sometimes it's taken for granted because you expect everyone in Vegas to be great. Like, if somebody's going to sing, they're going to be great. If somebody's going to play an instrument, they're going to be great. The food's going to be great. The cocktail's going to be great. So sometimes it's, it's sensory overload.
Well, I feel like everybody.
But I'm cool with that. I love sensory overload.
Well, I'm in the entertainment, so I'm trying to
Threaten me with a good time.
Jim, how about a good toast?
I'm about to.
We need somebody to give us a good toast. Somebody got a good toast or a toast, man.
I was talking. I was still
Oh,
saying.
I'm sorry.
Men.
As you drink more, the conversation just becomes more
No,
fluid, as we say.
No, I was just saying, like, but it's a reality that I'm saying sometimes the entertainers still feel like they're second, that it's not, it's like, we want all this, right? We want the entertainment, we're going to have a supper club, we're going to do this. But then there's like all these criteria with the entertainment. You can't do this loud, you can't do this, you can't do that. So it is a thing. Is it the food? Is it the dining? Is it the dining experience alone? Is it?
Well, Sky, if I may, I spent half of my life covering music professionally.
Oh, okay.
The other half covering food. And I will say I've never seen two groups that can compete for the greatest ego and the craziest people as chefs and musicians and entertainers.
It's ready for a boil.
So that being said, as a fan, I like for people to have to compete for my attention. I like to go see music in a rock club where if I'm not enjoying the band, I'll walk over to the bar and start a conversation with my friends. And you better be damn good to get my attention to go watch it at the stage. And she is. Any room that Sky is performing in, she's going to have the attention in the room. So I think musicians and chefs have both gotten to the point that they're expecting a captive audience. Somebody's in their seat, they're staring at you the whole time. Yes, when you expand that into a dinner theater type of situation, you do have to compete a little bit, but that makes you a better performer as far as I'm concerned.
So we're going to put you on the spot right now. Since you
no.
brought up.
Wow.
Slide down a little bit. Big Bob Bunch of moving next to Timmy Leonard, next to Sky D. Miles.
You pick one of these two, darling.
Pick one of the two.
Pick one of the two.
I picked the top one.
We'll make it
I
easy.
picked the top one
This
right
is
here.
literally my first Friday off in 15 years, and not even making me work.
If you ever
She wants union scale.
change your mind.
You want to do this one? Everybody knows this one.
Yeah.
Do they?
It's Sam Cooke, the greatest artist who ever lived.
Yeah.
Or we can do Bill Withers.
No, I'll do this.
Sam Cooke, come on.
Okay.
Cooking, cook,
Sam
food.
Cooke. Oh,
It's short, it's easy, no intro. Well, I guess there is an intro.
Is there an intro
This
there?
is the intro.
I've had 3 glasses of wine and 2 hours of sleep.
Don't worry, I'm going to get your agent on the phone. He's sending a bill.
Here we go.
Oh, God.
I'll start it.
I was going to start. If you ever change your mind, leaving me behind.
Everybody.
Bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it
give you jewelry
I'll give you jewelry.
and money too.
Money too.
But that ain't all, it ain't all I do for you.
Oh, yeah, bring it on. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it home to me. Yeah. Oh, if you ever change your mind about leaving me behind.
Everybody.
Oh,
Oh, bring it,
bring it home. Bring it home.
bring it on home.
Yeah.
You know I'll always
You always.
be your slave.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Now we got a Kanye moment going on here. I don't know what.
Bring it on home.
Yeah, yeah.
You know I tried.
I think he wanted to sing the song.
Come on. But you stayed out. You stayed out every night. But I forgive you, sugar.
Oh, now bring it home. Bring it home. Bring it home to me. Yeah. Yeah. The 6'5" drink of vanilla water.
6'8", sugar.
Okay, 6'8".
Wow! Peppermint Hippo!
That was Cooking with the Cook.
Bob!
I never-
Cooking with
I
Sam
never
Cook!
performed at the strip club before.
Sky D. Miles! Over at the Palms Hotel Resort.
That's your resume.
Wednesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays and
back room.
Palms Resort.
In the champagne room.
What's your
This is Champagne Lounge.
SkyDmiles.com, is that your website? SkyDE?
Oh, www.
Bunch of those
Dot
W's.
Sky Miles, skies with the E.
Sky with an E, otherwise you're going to get
Miles.com.
Delta
It's
Airlines.
not like your Delta Sky Mile.
Sky Miles,
That would-
you're going to get
yes.
Delta Miles.
Or Midnight Sky, the revival on IG. It's one of those.
Wednesdays and Thursday nights, 9 p.m. at Palms Resort and Casino Sky. Master Chef Rick Moonen. Available in a theater near you. Alvin City Food in London.
Learn where you
Jim Laird.
Get it.
Secrets of
Bluegrass Chefs.
Secrets of Bluegrass Chef. I want to thank everybody. Come on back over here. So we're coming to you from the Peppermint Hippo.
No strippers this week.
And there's strippers here. Yeah, it's a topless cabaret. You might know it as OG, the Olympic Gardens. But we're going to be here every Friday, 5 o'clock, having a lot of fun. Thanks for tuning in. If you've got any questions, you can email me at news1lasvegas@gmail.com. News number 1, not spelled out, lasvegas@gmail.com. Thanks for everybody for joining us in this little fun. You want to play this on out with the other song, or you want to do more of that?
No, we should do my all-time favorite.
All right, do your all-time favorite.
Oh,
Who's that actually walking in?
oh, baby, it's right.
Wow, leave that little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood. You sure are looking good. You're everything that a big bad wolf would want. That's it.
That's it. That's it. As always,
Lap dances begin.
eat well and party hard, my friends. Have a great, great holiday season. Thanks for tuning in.
Never drink wine on an empty
And
stomach.
as always, eat well, party hard,
Got
and
me tipsy.
peace.
Hit finish? Do I hit finish?
Yeah.
Yeah.